6 seasons ago, I started my career as director of football. Now, 2 job changes, 2 league titles, and 5 assistant managers later, this summer we are building a squad for the Champions League. Greetings, my excellent friends, and welcome back to Club 3 Part 12 of the Director of Moneyball. I'm Kirk Sheridan, and we have set off at a sprint this summer. It's now Monday the 3rd of July, the squad have just returned for pre-season training, and we've already brought 2 new players in. Hannibal was a £14 million purchase from just relegated Brighton, and he comes in as the best midfielder at the club, and would also be the best inverted winger on the left-hand side as well. Fulfills all of our club DNA boxes, great determination, teamwork, work rate, pace, stamina, strength, and passing ability. Also fantastic first touch and dribbler, good flair, great technique. He's going to be a real threat as we challenge in Europe this season. So that's one top-class Moneyball signing, looking for undervalued players. Another is Ben McNamee from Nottingham Forest. We picked him up for £25 million, now valued up to £57 million. He was the EFL Young Player of the Year last season, played 46 matches, scored 11 goals and 8 assists for Forest. And he's going to be absolute quality on that right wing, whether it's as an inside forward, inverted winger, or even advanced playmaker. Just absolute quality. Can't wait to see what this guy can do. And another wonder kid for us. So that's 2 Moneyball signings, both increased in value already, and they're straight into the top 3 players at the club. We have also begun our outgoing business to build our transfer war chest for European football, starting with one of the greatest pieces of transfer business of all time. Now, we signed Charlie Patino on a free transfer a couple of years ago after he was released by Arsenal. He started a grand total of 1 league match for us, and after a couple of loan spells, we've just sold him to Valencia for £19.5 million. Incredible business, absolute quality. James Garner did complete his £10 million move to Sporting, and we made a gargantuan profit on John Manga. I did have high hopes for him when we signed him a couple of years ago, but he only started 2 matches in the Premier League last season, and we've made an £8 million profit. Not only that, but we have 2 more incoming transfers already lined up. Told you we were starting early this year. Joel Vico, we're just waiting for a work permit. He would come in as a decent Premier Division player with room to improve a little bit, a bargain value of £5.75 million. Another Moneyball special here. We spotted that he had a minimum fee release clause for foreign clubs, so great opportunity to get another quality player at an incredibly low price. And I couldn't miss the opportunity to go in for Balde, could I? Not the all-conquering wonder kid of other saves I've seen this year, but still a great option there for the left-back slot. And if nothing else, he'd give us an opportunity to do a Patino and sell him for a massive profit in future. Now, I'm leaping hard into this summer business because I do not want to leave any of these expectations from the board to chance. We're only expected to avoid relegation from the Premier League this year. Obviously, last year, we had an incredible first season back in the Premier League and qualified for the Champions League. Flukily, of course, with that 5th Champions League spot offered to England. But we're now expected to reach the Champions League proper. I would like us to be a little bit competitive. I'd also very much like us to become an established Premier League team a year ahead of schedule and just not get involved in a relegation fight this season. But in order to do that, we need a much deeper squad than we had last year because we're going to be playing twice a week for a little while. So let's welcome this squad back. I do wish Anthony Clark could take these on. This is one thing that is a bit of a gap in how we can play as director of football, the way that Football Manager currently works. And I am going to increase those expectations, though, as just discussed. There's enough talent to avoid even being dragged into a relegation battle. Excellent, good to see. We also want to give the FA Cup everything we've got. We'll make sure that we're giving those youth players a chance. It's a fundamental Moneyball principle. We must make sure that we do as much as possible this season. Okay, well, we've got a lot of players with increased morale after that, but there are a few there who are deeply unhappy. What is this about? Oh dear. So Onana, Ramazani, Mansverk and Mabude are all unhappy that the promise made by me in a team meeting wasn't kept. This can only be a team meeting from last season where Onana, Ramazzani and Mansfield, the team leaders, wanted me to offer Mabude a new contract, and I said, sure, I will do, because I already had, and he proceeded to sign it 2 days later. This feels like a bit of a glitch. They're unhappy that I didn't offer him a contract, which is true. I didn't offer him a contract after this meeting because it had already happened and he's already signed it. Brilliant. Well, let's hope that's a bug that doesn't destroy the team's dynamics this season. But to be honest, Onana, Ramazzani, couple of players that I'd probably be happy to move on this year anyway. They're two of the older players in the squad and I do want to move them on before they start depreciating in value. So we'll see how that goes this summer. Just a couple of days after pre-season training starts, it begins. Massive teams starting to pick off my star players. Atletico Madrid this time. A non-negotiable £26.5 million bid for Leo Wetsels. Well, Rule 9. If any club offers more than a player is currently worth on the open market, I must accept. So, as much as it pains me, accept the offer. How many more of these will I have to deal with this summer? Right, a few pieces of transfer news in quick succession now, a few days later, 9th of July, and we have had a work permit approved for Joachim Fischer. Now, you may recall we signed him for free at the end of his contract with Bayern last year. He hadn't played enough football to qualify for a work permit, so we sent him on loan to Cyprus for a year, and that was all it took. So we can start building up his value, and he's got decent enough ability to be a good Premier Division striker in the future. Vico is also in from Boca Juniors. Hugo Ekitike has moved to Brighton for £9 million. That was a great profit on a £3.5 million deal when we picked him up in the Championship. But we have missed out on Balde. Unfortunately, he chose to move to Sevilla instead. So I will keep on the lookout for another free asset that we can Patino in the future. It really is all kicking off. Crazy business at the moment. So Lewis Dobbin later the same day has signed for Sheffield United for £7.75 million. He was homegrown at club, but never really got an opportunity. In the Championship, he made 13 substitute appearances for us. He played well enough on loan at Strasbourg last year, but only 2 starts. So £7.75 million from Sheffield United. Let's bite the hand off for that. And we have a couple of offers in now for Trilly as well, who I believe we signed for about £5.5 million, so we could be looking to make a healthy profit on him as well. A day later, Monday the 10th of July, Christian Medina is leaving to join Celtic. It's a sad one to see him go, actually, because he was brilliant for us in that promotion season in the Championship. Was a fixture in the team until he picked up an injury about halfway through the season and then never really made it back into the side permanently. But £3 million profit on his transfer. Again, this is like the Moneyball summer. It's brilliant. But here's one that hurts a bit. Leo Wetsels has signed for Atletico Madrid for a fee that could eventually rise to £28 million. Now I say a bit because, yes, he's a 20-year-old wonder kid, which means obviously he could be amazing in future. But we signed him for £11.5 million. We've more than doubled our money on him. And he didn't actually play a huge amount of football for us last year. 13 starts, 15 substitute appearances. It's not like we're losing a guaranteed first-team regular here. So I think this probably works out as a brilliant deal for us to reinvest that money in high-quality first-team players. So we now have a quite frankly ludicrous £59 million in our transfer budget, almost an extra £200,000 a week of wages to play with. And Trilly is moving to Almeria for £10.25 million. He always looked like he would be great, but is actually our 4th choice right back at the moment. So that's another one we absolutely accept. And I have to say, I think this summer is going brilliantly so far. Well, this is frustrating. This is where I'm starting to get a little concerned now. So Marcelo Flores was a player who we spotted available for a free transfer, just been released by Arsenal, could play up front or in attacking midfield, would only ever be a squad player for us, but again, another player who we wanted to bring in, increase their value, sell for a profit. But he has said that he feels Hertha's squad is much stronger than ours, which is a bit of a concern because Hertha play in the Conference League. We, of course, are in the Champions League, but that does suggest we've still got quite a lot of work to do to improve this squad to a competitive level. Noted. Back to Moneyball miracles though, we've just accepted an offer with a potential value of £19 million for Joachim Fischer. Yes, the same Joachim Fischer that I mentioned earlier, who we had picked up for free and has only just been granted a work permit. From free to £19 million in just over 12 months. This is amazing. Honestly, this is Moneyball brilliance you're witnessing right here, my friends. So I'll tell you what, I am going to look to reinvest that £19 million in Vitor Roque. Now, you might remember, this is a player I wanted to sign when we were in the Championship, but he moved to Palmeiras instead of to Everton. So we'll have to pay a little more, but he does have a minimum fee release clause of £16.25 million, which feels like an absolute no-brainer. He's wanted by Leicester, he's wanted by Milan, he ticks all of the club DNA boxes, and he would even be better up front than Adrian Ortega. So there we go, offer accepted on Roque. Right, here's another piece of massive business. Luka Sucic is joining us from RB Salzburg. £5.5 million up front, another 7 on instalments. And look how good he is. He would come in, I'm pretty sure, as the best player at the club. He's 25 years old, so he fulfills those Moneyball criteria. That polygon is just wonderful. And there we go. He is indeed the best player at the club. We signed him for £12.5 million. He's already valued up to 34. Rather worryingly though, Fischer has frustratingly rejected Burnley. That would have been an incredible transfer for us, and now I've got some serious thinking to do about that Roque transfer. But here's another Rule 9 frustration coming to hit me from left field. This time, Joaquin Blázquez, our backup goalkeeper, we've been offered £850,000 for him. Currently, he's valued £650,000. So even with the minimum, it is above that basic level. So it's now a question, just how much can I get for him? Well, we've been able to bump it up to a £1.4 million offer, which is a £100,000 profit. That's pretty much the best we're going to get. I'm happy with that. But now we have some ructions in the dressing room. I offered Onana out and the offer that I received was below his market value. I chose not to accept it and now he is disappointed that he can't join Zenit. So we did have a chat about it, but he's now formally transfer listed after our little discussion and he wants to go for as little as £5 million. We'll see about that. And we have received a loan offer for Ramazzani. This equates to about £20.5 million after everything's taken into consideration. He's another one of those team leaders who is deeply unhappy at the moment. And although he's been an absolutely brilliant player for us, particularly in the Championship, he's now our 5th best left winger. We've just got better options. So we'll accept that offer as well. Oh my word, and now Mabude didn't turn up for training today. He's gone absent without leave. How can this all spin off from one situation where the players took my words far too literally in a meeting last year? If I just had the option to say, yes, I have offered him a new contract, all of this could have been avoided. He has a new contract as well. We're now paying him £52,000 a week. I'm sorry, dear 8, but I can't be having this. We're having to offer you out as well, my friend. Well, on the 23rd of July, here are 2 firsts for the director of Moneyball save. First, I have been offered an international management job. The Danish Football Association would like me to replace their current manager. Of course, I'm a director of football, so the second first is that I'm turning down a job offer. Thank you very much for thinking of me, but I have no interest whatsoever in actually getting involved with tactics. I'm having fun in my current career. But on the same day that I turned down that Denmark opportunity, the transfers just keep rolling in to Everton Football Club. This time, Izit Koskan, who is a 21-year-old right back. We have signed him from Paris Saint-Germain. He is a little bit injury prone and incredibly aggressive, but he is 6'4" and 5-star potential, and also now valued up to £54 million. There's definitely a common theme among all of my incoming transfer business this season. Basically, they're all worth way more than we actually paid for them. This squad is getting better and better. Koskan is closely followed by the Brazilian central defender Keiki. I think it's Keiki. Let me know in the comments how to pronounce this one, please, because I'm not entirely sure. We've picked him up for £17 million from Leverkusen. He's tall, he's dominant in the air, he fulfills again all of our club DNA attributes, and the best central defender at the club, and he's worth double what we paid for him. I'm on a roll, my friends. I'm on a Moneyball roll. And here's a couple of outgoing transfers just to equalise our spending somewhat. Blázquez has moved to Arsenal now for a flat £1.5 million fee. And Gelson Fernandez is on his way to join Hertha for £10.5 million, with another 2.5 coming if he manages to play 50 games for the club. We've made another decent profit on him as well. I had high hopes for him when he joined us for £8 million in the Championship, but never really came to much, unfortunately. Only 2 substitute appearances last year before going out on loan. So £2.5 million profit there is absolutely outstanding work. And after all of those incomings and outgoings, I am absolutely delighted to see where the season preview is expecting us to finish this year. Last season, we were about 16th, 17th, all the way through. Although we massively overperformed expectations, the depth of our squad was nowhere near what we needed to remain competitive long term. Now, it looks like it is. We're 150 to 1 for the title, obviously, but the media are expecting a comfortable mid-table finish. Oh, interesting. Right, Gladbach have offered £20.5 million in one go for Mabude. That's a massive increase to our transfer budget this summer, so that feels like an offer that I really should accept given how unsettled he is. Given we signed him for £8 million, that's another huge profit in the making there. And the quality business just keeps on rolling. Vitor Roque is in from Palmeiras, £16.25 million. Potential to be a leading Premier Division striker and already valued up to £44 million. He's now, I believe, the highest paid player at the club, though. And that's actually a really strong Brazilian contingent at the club now. 6 players in total. Vinicius Caligari, Keiki, Roque, Pino and Cordero, none of whom have a senior cap among them. Surely it's only a matter of time, though, because there's some quality players in the mix there. Huge news about the dressing room unrest. Mabude is now happy to stay. He's had a change of heart. He's happy to remain at the club. He's not bothered anymore that I failed to keep a promise that I'd already fulfilled before the meeting even happened. We won't go there. I'm over it. I'm not over it, but I'm over it. I'm really not over it. What about the rest of the team, though? No, they're still really unhappy. Oh, team leaders as well. This could get really bad really quickly if I don't sort this out. In other news, though, Jamie Hunt is a player who is attracting a lot of interest this summer. I've been rejecting bids for him pretty much consistently since the start of July, and his transfer value is going up all the time. He hasn't yet signed a professional contract, but he has 4-star potential. He's a defensive midfielder, so perhaps long-term he is a hard-tackling defensive midfielder that I'm looking for. There is no way we're letting him go for anything like £2.5 or £3 million. He is an asset. We're keeping hold of him as long as we possibly can. Right, time for a status check on the 1st of August. £113 million of outgoing transfers, including 10 players who were nowhere near being first-team regulars. 5 incoming transfers for £72 million, which includes the best striker at the club, the best central defender at the club, the best right-back at the club, and the best midfielder at the club. We kick off against Crystal Palace in 11 days' time. Almost a week later, it's time for me to choose my captain for the season, and given how unhappy he is at the moment with the way he perceives to have been treated in a previous team meeting, I think I'm going to drop Mansverk as captain and actually upgrade Vinicius to club captain. Let's have that conversation with Mansverk. I think we've got more suitable candidates, and he's happy with that. This is very good news. Smolcic vice-captain, Vinicius captain. That should set us up nicely for the year ahead. Oh, and look at that. Abraham Santiago was the best player at the Olympic Games for Mexico under-23s. Currently 8th in line, a striker for us, but good potential. Hopefully we can get him a bit of game time this year. You know, sometimes when you set some rules for yourself in Football Manager to make your game more entertaining, more immersive, and then something happens that makes you really, really, really hate those rules. Well, this is one of those moments, and I really hate Rule 9, because I love Fabian Rieder, and I think I'm going to have to sell him to Real Madrid very, very soon. They have offered a potential value of £34 million, which is right at the top end of his transfer value. However, I'm going to reject it because that is not 34 million guaranteed. They're only offering 32 and a quarter as guaranteed income. So with that in mind, I will reject it, but this is Real Madrid. He's not going to be happy with that. He will want to move on, and this is going to be an ongoing saga until the end of August. I should probably start looking again for new central midfielders. Well, here's some more excellent dynamics news though. Ramazzani now is happy to remain at the club. That's immediately bumped up the club atmosphere. Fantastic. So we'll get him off the transfer list. Welcome back to the fold. But Onana feels like a sale we absolutely have to push through now. We've got a potential £15 million offer here. And he is deeply unhappy. Firstly, about that team meeting. We won't go there. I'm still not over it. He was then disappointed he couldn't join Zenit. He feels he's had too many promises broken by me because I promised to sell him, and I've been trying. I've just been trying to get decent value for him. Now we've achieved that, I'm going to have to accept. It's such a shame. I think we're doing the best that we can here in the circumstances to maximise his value. So again, this feels very much in keeping with our Moneyball principles. And with the Onana saga continuing to play out behind the scenes, we have arrived. It's the 12th of August. We're away at Crystal Palace for our first match of the Premier League season. We're still predicted to finish 10th, which I'm absolutely delighted to see. Palace predicted to finish 14th. The board and supporters both expecting a draw, though. And Palace are favourites. So I think basically nobody has a clue what's actually going to happen in this game, except for our main man, of course, Anthony Clark. He's got a 65% win percentage with Everton so far. Absolutely incredible record. He's about to kick off his third season in charge on the pitch. Anthony, buddy, make it so. Oh, and he really does. Superior finishing provided the edge for us in this match. It was tight, we had less possession, and the XG did not warrant a 3-0 victory, but 3-0 it was nonetheless. Our debutants kicked off their Everton careers in style, so Roque was clean through for his first goal, our first goal of the season, set up by McNamee, who obviously is another debutant, and the second goal was an absolute scorcher from new club captain Abner Vinicius. No chance for the Palace goalkeeper there. And then McNamee created our third opening as well, this time playing it through to Rukavina, a beautiful lofted pass, and there we go, 3-0 away from home, opening day of the season. Thank you very much, Anthony Clark. That was some absolutely quality finishing, and incredibly, say it quietly and don't get used to it, we're top of the league on the first day of the season. What better way to end the episode could we possibly hope for? Coming up next though, there's still some work to do in this transfer market. We've still got £40 million to play with, and I'm desperate to find a high quality goalkeeper and a hard tackling defensive midfielder. And of course, there's just the small matter of our opening match in the Champions League to look forward to as well. So I hope you will join me for the next episode. It's going to be an absolute corker. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have, please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on to find out the second the next part drops. And in the meantime, be excellent to each other. I'm Kirk Sheridan. Thank you for watching and I'll see you soon.